you dirty potters, how are you today? Today I want to talk about making marbleized clay. Marbleized clay is essentially the product that you get when you mix two different clay bodies together, and they're most apparent whenever you put a clear glaze over them. At some point in your ceramic career, you're gonna come across something like this. And this is actually extremely easy to make as long as you know a couple of rules that go along with making something like this. So today, we're gonna go over those rules, as well as a couple tips and tricks on how to get that good, nice marbleization. The first and most obvious thing you need to learn is that marbleized clay is obviously the product of white clay and a darker clay mixed together. Now, this doesn't have to be brown clay like the one I have here in my hand. It can be a much darker clay such as black mountain or Cassius clay even. But you do have to have something darker than your white clay. I know that seems really obvious, but I get a lot of people asking if they can use porcelain clay and then something like B-mix and put them together to make marbleized clay, and no, you can't. Just get some colored clay. The first thing you need to do in making marbleized clay is to wedge these two pieces individually. You should have already wedged your white piece of clay and your dark piece of clay individually. Do not stick them together and think that that's your entire wedging process, because when you mix these two together, you essentially only have a certain amount of times you can spiral wedge them together until they become a whole new clay. And instead of getting those really nice black and white spirals and swirls, you pretty much just end up making one mold of a gray type of clay. It won't come out like this, I'll tell you what. Take these two little bits of clay right here, for instance. We have a white clay and we have a redstone clay. We mix them together and they end up making marbleized clay that I then have to throw and then make into a product. But if you mix them way too much, you've essentially lost all the nice spiralization you were going for in the first place. So remember not to wedge these two too much together. Instead, wedge them individually and put them together at a later time. Well, now I just have brown clay that I don't need. The second thing that you need to know is that these are two very different clay bodies, and with them being very different, they most likely have different shrinkage rates. Let's say this was porcelain and this was a high grog red clay body. Usually porcelain clay and earthenware clay, or something with a lot of grog in it, have very different shrinkage rates, and when you mold them together, they're going to shrink at different times and different rates in the kiln. This means that if you have something that's a little bit too different, let's say you had Cassius clay that has a massively different shrinkage rate than this stuff right here, which is hoggy porcelain, you put them together, they shrink at different times and different rates, they will most likely make cracks in your clay body. Granted, I have seen people mix together really high grog clay bodies with porcelain clay bodies, and they still come out looking way better than this, but it's better safe than sorry. And the third thing you need to know is kind of going back to the first thing. You're gonna have to wedge these two together, but make sure not to wedge them too much together, otherwise you're just gonna get a gray blob of brand new clay that you don't need. Usually when I get two different clay bodies and wedge them together to make marbleized clay, I make sure that I don't go over 15 spirals of wedge. I go in between 10 and 15 because any more is going to make these really meshed together spirals, and it's not going to look like spiralized or marbleized clay. You're essentially just going to get that groggy, nasty clay we got before. See, I wedged this about 13 times, and when I cut this open, you'll see that the clay is nice and marbleized. Keep in mind that the more you wedge this clay body together, the more they're going to become a brand new clay. So the less you have to wedge this, the better. This is why I opt out for wedging in between 10 to 15 times. This way I get the desired spiral. One more time for the non-believers. At first, it's not going to look like you spiraled anything together, but you spiraled all the brown clay into the white clay, or vice versa. So you just open it up and you'll see that you did a pretty good job. And after you've wedged your clay together to get this really nice spiral, you're pretty much halfway done. Now all you have to do is throw your desired shape. Tip. You see this clay body? This clay body is supposed to be marbleized clay. And yes, while you can technically see a little bit of white and brown in there, it doesn't look as good or as marbleized as the last product I showed you last time, right? That's because there's a mixture of clay and water mixed together, covering up that nice layer of marbleized clay right here. Usually this would come out in the trim, but I'm more of a only trim your bottoms kind of guy because I usually take care of the rest of my body while I'm throwing. So if you want that nice tasty color now, you can always get your metal rib, put your hands on the inside of your cylinder or whatever you're throwing, and scrape it right along the outside of the clay body. This will get rid of the majority of the slip and clay and water that's covering your nice marbleization and make them nice and visible. You see, now you can see those nice spirals and marbleization all throughout your clay body. They're much more visible now that you've taken off all that slough and slip. And if you are going to use your metal rib to take off all that slough and slip, I suggest you do it at the end of throwing your product. Because if you decide to take it off, throw a little bit more, you're simply just going to get more slip on your cylinder. So it's a good idea to use this very last, he says as he keeps throwing. Let's do a few more while we're here. This one got some really nice marbleization. Potter tip. It's fairly easy to make something like a bowl with this technique, but with a bowl comes a different challenge. You see, with a cup, you couldn't really put anything in there like a metal rib. You essentially smoothed out the outside with that metal rib, and then you just left the inside alone. But with a bowl, it's a little bit different, because you can actually reach the inside of your bowl. And keep in mind, just like the outside of the last cylinders we made, the inside is covered with a bunch of slip, which means that you can't really see the inside of the marbleization too well. At this point, you have one of two options. You can either do this in the trim by centering this upright, sticking your metal tool in there, and just trimming out that extra layer to really bring out that marbleization, because when you trim your clay body and you do have marbleized clay, it's gonna come out a little bit nicer. Or you can simply take your metal rib, turn it around, and let this curvature right here ride on the inside of your bowl. This will bring out that really nice marbleization. You see, now you can actually see the marbleization on the inside of your bowl as well as the outside. It was a little bit more difficult to do with the cup because you can't really fit your hand or your metal rib in there. But with this, you can very easily do that. It also works for plates. And the rest is pretty easy. From this point on, all you really have to do is treat this like a normal bowl. You just have to trim the outside of this bowl, make your nice foot, put it on the shelf, and treat it like a normal piece of pottery. And much like this marbleized piece, I highly suggest putting a clear coat on this, because why did you make marbleized clay if you're just gonna put a dark clay over it so no one can see the marbles? A clear coat really allows you to see through the glaze to the clay body and really check out those nice marbleizations that you just made. Well, thank you, Dirty Potters, for joining me today. This is a really easy and simple technique. You essentially have to make sure you don't wedge your two different clay balls together too much, and make sure the shrinkage rates aren't too different, and you're pretty much good to go. After that, you just throw it like a normal pot. If you guys would like to see any of my artwork or join the community on the Facebook page, the links are always down below for your beautiful Potter eyes to see, and I will see you, Dirty Potters, next week. Please don't be that person that just because you figured out that this sells really well at arts and crafts tables and everyone's going to ask you to make it from now on and it's super visually appealing, it's essentially eye candy in ceramic form. Don't be that person that makes nothing but this for a straight year and just tries to sell nothing but this type of pottery. Please step out of your comfort zone. If I come into class and I see that one student who makes nothing but this for the entire year, I will fail you. I will fail you hard.